What if you had the smartest Wi-Fi? If you did, it'd be Xfinity and it'd come with their best state-of-the-art equipment. It would boost speeds to the devices that needed them most, whether you were streaming, gaming, or gaming while pretending to work. It would even power your mobile connection so you could bring faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds with you where you use it most. If you had the smartest Wi-Fi, everything would work together seamlessly to keep you connected. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Jayhawker Podcast. My name is Nate Bucati. We got a special guest here today, the head football coach at the University of Kansas, Lance Leipold, is with us, and we are brought to you by Xfinity. Get the nation's smartest Wi-Fi only from Xfinity. Imagine that. Coach, thanks a lot for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. Great to be with you.
Well, you're coming off a big win, another away win, and I was looking at some of the numbers that your staff puts out. 6 away wins for you since 2001 here, and it was 0-52 here away from home before that. I was on the sideline for a lot of those 0-52s. The magic of an away win, I'd love to talk about that with you. First off, just like, what does it mean to the program to get one? Why is it important? Why is it difficult? What does it mean to you guys to have a win like this away from home?
Well, as I say, in this conference right now, wins in general are tough to come by. There's so much parity, and you have to be ready each and every week. And of course, as we always talk about all the way through sports, home field advantage, whether it be based on routine, the kind of the inconvenience of travel, so to speak, all those things, hotels, the whole gamut. But then again, the crowd and those things that can be a factor, whether it be crowd noise and cadence and execution, or just the noise of momentum when things kind of happen. And that's what Saturday's game made me really proud of our football team, is being down 14-0, that we're able to battle back and come out with a win.
Is there an extra satisfaction to keeping, this is metaphorically speaking, a tight huddle, so to speak?
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that's something like I talked to the team Friday night in the hotel, and we talk about, we have, there's usually parents and some boosters will make the trip, and it's great, but sometimes they get stuck up in a corner somewhere and for seats, and it's really us against everyone on those type of days. It's really that when we're in that team meeting on Friday night to wrap up the evening, it's really us against everyone at that point. And sometimes you get that bond to be a little bit tighter, a little bit closer than sometimes the home game feeling because of that, because you're really battling against a lot of different things. You have to eliminate crowd noise, people kind of heckling you, those things that really kind of force you to lock in even more so.
You've discussed the logistical challenges of travel, especially when you have a late game. You got to come back home, have a short week to turn around and go on the road again. And the map of all the conferences in today's world it's not like regional travel like it used to be. Florida, Arizona, everywhere in between. How much does that add to the logistical challenge of what you're trying to do week in and week out?
Oh, it does. We try to, when at all possible, like if we were playing strictly in the central time zone, we could pretty much have yes, there's flight times, but we could pretty much have a carbon copy each and every week of what we want our Friday to look like, our travel, not a home or away game, by the time we leave, time to get to the airport and get all those things done. But because of time zones, you go to the Eastern time zone, 2.5 hour flight, lose an hour. So everything is that we bring the players in earlier Friday, when normally we try to give them a little more sleep on Friday for a home game. Now this week we'll be able to do that because we'll be in the Central time zone. So there's a lot of logistical things that kind of go into it. And then coming back, again, we didn't get back probably here to the facility till 5 a.m. or after. And again, getting our guys they have a check-in with the training room, doing those things, but also you're sleeping and you're trying to catch up on sleep, but at the same time you're missing meals. And if you go from 5 a.m. past noon to try to get 8 hours of sleep, you're going to miss breakfast and lunch. And for many of our guys that have to sustain weight, have troubles keeping weight on, you have to balance all of that as you go through it. So a lot of those things you've got to just work through and try to come up with the best plans possible.
Sustaining weight has not been a problem for me as I've progressed in my life. But when you're a kid,
you and I both.
But when you're trying to when you're trying to maintain body mass and all that for these guys, it really is like a full-time job. And if the travel logistics of domestic travel wasn't enough for you, you've got an international trip coming up now over to London. And I just would love to get your thoughts on what this maybe signifies for the program. What are the opportunities that you see there?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of logistical things that will be planned out here in the next year. But I look forward as a great opportunity on many fronts, Nate. One is, for the student athletes in general, this is a sport where, in other sports, there's international trips. For a college student, there's study abroad. Our players go year round, 12 months a year, having to go through all the training, all the things. They don't get those type of opportunities. So we're going to provide a life-changing opportunity that they'll talk about this trip the rest of their life. I do think there's things for our brand and our university to be able to market and grow from as you continue to look at other ways. Could be for students, for research, for a lot of different things. And then I think lastly, I would say the NFL continues to broaden their international play. Why? Because there's an interest. There's a way to do this. And as we continue to look for revenue streams and other things that are going to happen in college athletics, it is a business. Whether we want it to be or not, it is a big business. And we have a chance to be on the forefront of something that our conference is going to be active about. And I look forward as a chance to be, again, that when it repeats itself, we'll be able to get back into the flow of that again. And so there's so many different things. And to play at Wembley Stadium and do those things, I just think it'll be a great opportunity. Not everyone's going to see it the same way, but I do think when it's all said and done, this will be a good experience for this program.
Of course, there's an internationally famous television show about a tackle football coach, mythical tackle football coach from Kansas, who goes to England and coaches soccer.
Yep.
Did you ever watch that show?
I did watch some of it. I didn't finish it yet, but I have, and and hopefully maybe Jason will be part of this in some way, shape, or form. But when you look at the way soccer continually grows in the United States and with the World Cup and everything coming to Kansas City, it's going to be so great for that sport. And again, as American football continues to grow in Europe and other parts of the world, I look at this as something that is going to be beneficial to all.
I think the thing that made that show so appealing, honestly, obviously the premise is far-fetched that you could just go to another sport at the highest level. But I think the idea behind it is the values that you practice in one sport do translate to another from a culture standpoint and those things, right? I mean,
yes, and there's no matter what sport it is, there's something about habits and things about being part of a team, all those different things. And there's a lot of things that also go into life experiences for him as a coach that he brings to the team and instills into them. And whether it be dealing with a player, whether it be dealing with the team or the organization, I think all those are beneficial and transferable across the board.
I want to talk to you about a couple of those relationships with players in a second, but just a thought that occurred to me. I had a chance to talk to some of the English camera guys who usually are doing soccer, and then all of a sudden an NFL game comes to England, and now all of a sudden they're doing it. And I asked them what they thought of the game, and they said, the thing that really struck them was American football is a game of misdirection. It's a rare sport in which the offense is actively trying to disguise where the ball is and where it's going. And for a camera guy, it can become really difficult. And I thought, I never really thought about the game in those terms. And that kind of made me think of your guys' offense. I mean, you guys do a lot of trying to draw people's attention in different directions.
Yep. There's a lot of movements and shifts and a lot of things that try to, it forces people to get lined up. It forces them to be disciplined in assignments and eye discipline and things like that. And you're right. I never thought about that as much as difficulty. Every now and then you'll see where the camera's following the guy who doesn't have the ball and things like that. But in the other uniqueness, I think sometimes with our sport, of course, even with other American sports, is the way we set the ball down and start over each and every play. There's not the continual movement, and that's unique to some. If you're not used to that sport, it is. But that's, of course, where all the different strategy that gets incorporated.
I think it's fun seeing the way the fans get a chance to explore and learn a new sport like that. I wanted to talk to you. So we were talking about Ted Lasso and the relationships. I had a chance to sit here last week with Jalen, and what's it, a 5-year ongoing relationship you've had with him now? And in today's landscape of transfer portals and all of those things, it's got to be incredibly rare for a relationship to last that long between a coach and a quarterback. And he talked a lot about the trust. That was the number one word he used about his relationship with you. How would you describe that evolving relationship?
Well, I first of all, I would use that word with him in many regards as well. And one is I trust him for being a man of his word. And that in today's, again, through different coordinator changes, he went through a head coaching change early in his career. Many guys would probably, and last year he had a lot of good friends that he had gone through this program with. A lot of guys would just say, you know what, I'm gonna do a change too. I'm gonna reset and finish this somewhere else, go look at a place where I could get paid more and things like that. But again, we told him why we wanted him here. We wanted him involved in recruiting, help recruiting and attracting the receivers we were going to bring in. And of course, he was a big part of that. Watching him grow as an individual through the tough times, I would say this is for everything that he's gone through, injury-wise and other things, I don't know if there's a guy that could do it any better than what he did and remain the same person through that. Now, he's matured, but again, his disposition, his smile, he never came out to practice. You know, some guys you can tell they're really discouraged and frustrated. He didn't let his personal feelings ever affect his football team, even when he wasn't available. And that's what I really admire about him and who he is. He's so much the same young man who just went through maturity growth than he was when I met him as he is now. He didn't let fame or fortune change him. And that's what's really cool.
I think your quarterback room is fascinating right now. Seeing Isaiah and Ballard, we've seen little glimpses of them. The things that you hear and see are that they're just great for that room as well. And I feel like in college particularly, everybody knows you need a quarterback. It's the most important position, but it obviously is not that easy to find the really good ones, because if it was, the biggest programs would just pluck the best one every time, right?
Yeah, I would, again, I think some of the, everybody wants to play, everybody wants early playing time. Those are the things. And it's unique when you kind of see that we've been very fortunate, and I hope it stays that way, to maintain a quarterback room. Because a lot of times what happens is guys are leaving, and then they're really struggling to find out. They may have the one, but they don't have a backup. And they're really depleted in those areas. So it's a balancing act in today's setup. But again, to developing, but again, there's, as you look at it, I say it this way: it's a hard position to play, and we all know that. And that's why you still see guys past the age 35 still playing in the NFL. And you think about all the quarterbacks that left college, that would be ages 24 to 34 that don't make rosters because it is such a difficult position to play, and are all the schemes transferable. But I like our quarterback room. I like them as players, and I love them as people. And I think, like you said, we have a really special room, and I'm excited about all of them.
You were speaking with the media this week about the things that you look for when a team's battling adversity. And I remember I had a conversation with you last week about how in the transfer portal, when you're limited for how much time you get to spend around these kids, you're looking for guys with good character, all those things, but it's hard to find. I'm curious, are there any little things when you're watching on film or something, like a little tell that if a guy, if he gives everything he's got on the extra point, for an example, does that show you something? Are there things like that you can look for?
Yeah, as you try to watch as much film as you can watch guys, how do they respond after a bad play? How do they respond if they get beat on something? Or if a quarterback or a receiver, running back fumble, how do they come back? What's their body language? Again, you watch body language on a lot of things. You can watch a guy, is he happy for other people's success? How does he handle? Again, it moves fast and furious in the transfer portal, and you're trying to make sure that you got a guy that, in the perfect world, you want a guy that is probably just stuck behind some people. Kind of, Emmanuel Henderson was kind of in that type of boat. Sometimes your group of 5 Division I players want a chance to play at the Power 4 level. Your FCS player wants to try to play at a highest level possible. But you're looking for guys that are good, that are they're very coachable, talented, but also healthy, and that they can stay healthy. And so there's a lot of things to research in a short period of time. But again, watching their, usually we find somebody within the program that the young man's leaving from, and try to do some background of what type of person he is off the field, how he is in the locker room, those type of things.
So we're doing this podcast from the beautiful facility that that you have. That's obviously still, the stadium part is in progress, but man, it was an emotional thing for me getting to come to the first game here and seeing the place and how beautiful it is. But I know from talking to you and some of the other people around here, it's not just, it's great for the fans, it's great for the game day experience, but can you tell us about some of the ways that the new facilities make it tangibly easier or better for your players to do what they want to do?
So many times people, even Travis Goff asked me, like, way back when we made the announcement, he's like, what do the players think about stadium? I go, well, most of them are going to be graduated before it's done, and that's kind of tough. He goes, yeah. But the most important thing is this area that we're in, The premium seating and those things are nice for our fans and are great for them to experience, and it helps with the atmosphere and the stadium design. But it's really the confines of what we're working on here, and it's really been a huge upgrade for us. I try to think in today's Power 4 resources across the country, we're not missing anything that's of necessity to do our jobs to the best of our abilities, from our walkthrough room to our meeting rooms to what we've been able to do in our training room as far as helping players get healthy, maintain, all those different things. So it has definitely been a huge boost. And probably the latest one that just opened is our Performance Center dining area for our players. And to have a chef making meals for our guys and doing those things, it has been we appreciated everyone that helped us when we were catering food and doing those things. But our players have really enjoyed the resources in that area.
All right, Coach, before we wrap it up, just quickly, you've got a back-to-back away games now. And Texas Tech, they just put it to Houston. They're off to this great start. Everybody knows they've got good resources to get players. I was trying to think of the right way to say it. They got good resources to get players, and that's part of the game nowadays. What impressed you the most about them when you look at them right now?
Yeah, that they've used those resources really well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's things that have happened. You can see a very talented team that's deep across the board. Impactful players of where they're going to go. It's going to be a huge challenge for us. But again, I know our players are up for that. Much like we went to BYU and they were a top 10 football team a year ago, it's going to be the similar type of thing when you go into a top 10 sold-out stadium and a good atmosphere. But Joy McGuire has himself a really good football team, and we're going to need to be at our best on Saturday night. But I know our guys are ready for that challenge.
Watch out for those tortillas.
Yeah, I know. Last time we were there, one of our players got hit in the eye with one, so we got to make sure. But hopefully, it's only the opening kickoff one that they throw. So.
Hopefully, it's a soft one. We don't want anybody getting hurt. Well, Coach, congratulations on the big win this past weekend. Best of luck down at Lubbock. Thanks a lot for the time today.
Appreciate it, Nate. Thank you.
That's Coach Lance Leipold, and this has been the Jayhawker Podcast, brought to you by Xfinity.